Hello, I am so sorry that this is not a Facebook Live like I expected it to be. I was having some major technical difficulties, so I decided that this would just be the best way for me to kind of get all of the information out to you. If you end up having any questions or anything at all, you can always send me an email or a message, and I would be happy to answer them as quickly as I can. First things first, my name is Emily. I guess I should have started off with that. I have my own cookie business and I am the creator of Sift mobile app. I thought of the idea for Sift basically from my own frustrations of working a full-time job and running my own cookie business. It was a lot. And I needed some way to kind of lighten the load of the administrative side of my business. So I came up with the idea for Sift so that it would cover order inquiries, it would have client communication, it would have managing my schedule all in one place. So that's really what my goal for Sift is really just kind of make the administrative side of a creative business a little bit easier, because we're all handling so much at one time that, you know, a little automation and simplicity is always welcome. So that being said, let's dive right into Sift. The way I'm going to work this is I'm going to first show you, I'll show you how I use Sift and kind of just how the app works. And then I'll go into getting it set up for yourself and for your own business. So let me share my screen here. All right, so when you enter Sift for the very first time, you're going to see a screen that looks like this with pretty much nothing in it because you haven't set it up yet. But the first thing you'll do is you will create a form. I'll go over how to create your form in a little bit, but first I want to show you the general flow of using Sift. So you'll create a form. And what's going to happen is your customers will access this form either through your website or through your social media, and they're going to fill out that form. So let me show you a quick example here. I'll put my information in. And this is basically where you're going to get all of the good information from your customers so that you know exactly what they're looking for. So they fill it out. Let's say it's for bachelorette cookies. And we'll say all pink. And then they can choose what pricing they want or whatever. They can also upload a photo right to the form for inspiration. So I will upload a quick photo here. Sure, we'll add this random thing. They can crop it and save. And then as soon as they submit it, as the customer, they will actually receive an email. So if I go to my iCloud, I should have an email. So if I am the customer, I submitted a form, I now have an email that says, my form has been submitted. Hi, Emily. Thank you so much for submitting a form. I'll review your inquiry and get back to you shortly. Talk to you soon, Emily Retamozo. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's what your customer sees. They submit a form and they get an automated email. You so far have done nothing. What you will see is a new pop-up in your inquiry list, and you'll see that it says new. So you can tap on that, and now you'll be able to see your customers' requests. So you'll see all of the information that they put in, and you'll be able to decide if you want to take on their order or not. If you are available, all you have to do is swipe that inquiry to the left and click the pink check. If you are booked or you are not available, you can click that X. And then that light blue button is so that you can actually edit that inquiry if you need to change date or anything like that. We'll go into that a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I am available for this order. So all I do is accept that order. Now the color changed, I see that it's accepted, and on my customer's end, they will receive another automated email. So here is my thanks for reaching out and the initial response. Hi, Emily. Thanks so much for reaching out. I'm happy to let you know I'm available. I will touch base soon to finalize details. So your customer has now gotten an automated email letting them know that you are available. Here is the thing. Your customer cannot reply to this. Well, they can reply to it, but you're not going to get the email. So if I reply as a customer, that message is not going to come through to my app. The next thing you want to do after accepting an inquiry is actually go through and initiate the conversation. So I typically use this space to tell them how much their order is going to be, how payment works, all of those good things. To finalize details, work with you. So now once I have opened up the lines of communication and I send this to my customer, then they will be able to reply. So now my message has gone through to my customer, and what they will see, once again, is another email from you. So again, just a normal email direct to their inbox. They don't need to download the app or anything like that. And now they can reply right to you. I'm so excited. Yay. And when you go back into your app, it might take a minute or two. There you go. Sorry, it took a second there. You will have a new message waiting for you. So all you do is click full message and you see I'm so excited. So that's kind of how that works. So once you've accepted an order inquiry, you can then tap on it. You've got this conversation tab option. You have all of their order details, and you have this little payment checklist just to simply keep track of your invoice, if the invoice was paid, deposit, and if it's paid in full. Eventually, Sift will be able to take payments, but we are not quite there yet. We're working on it. So that is how the messaging works. Now, if we were to say, fill out another form as a trial, I'll use my husband's name. Whoops. I'll show you how the declining works. All right, so they have a new submission. Again, I should see another email pop up to say that my form has been submitted. There it is. And in my app, I now have a new inquiry. And you'll also notice that these inquiries are in order by date. So your inquiries that are closest are going to be at the top, and then they'll go further and further away as we go down. You can also sort them by clicking new, completed, declined, all of different ways to sort up there on the top. So if I read through this inquiry and I don't care to do it, or I'm not available, all I have to do is swipe over, click that X, and then the customer will be notified that I'm unavailable. You'll also notice that that inquiry left my list. So if I jump back over here, thank you for reaching out. Unfortunately, I'm unavailable. So that's how declining an inquiry works. That is pretty much the gist of using the app with your customers. A lot of times I'll have customers that need to change the number of cookies they want. If you need to edit anything at all in the inquiry that they submitted or in their project, you just have to click that light blue button, and then you can click next. And maybe instead of 12 cookies, you want to add, she wants 50 cookies. The other nice thing about this is you can also add things to their list, and they're not going to see this. So like if I go through and choose my cookie cutters, I might make a note of it and say, okay, square cookie cutter with blue icing, right? And I can just kind of make a note for myself and save it. And that way, when I go into the list here, I can scroll down and see all of the notes that I want to leave just for myself. What else? Okay. Now that we've gone through creating and how to use the app, I want to show you how to get set up. So when you first open your app, everything's going to be blank. You're not going to have any inquiries in your list here. You're not going to have any forms over here. So you have to create them. One last thing I want to point out, just real quick. Notice that I have these 2 bullet points here with 50 and detailed. That's kind of like my project snapshot, and I'll show you how to control what information goes in that project snapshot. But before we do that, let's jump over here and I'll show you how to create a form. All you have to do to create a form is click the pink plus sign and add blank form. You're going to add a title. You can put whatever information you want here in the description. You can add a banner photo and make it look pretty. And you'll notice that there are already three questions preloaded into every form: the full name, email, and due date. You can't remove those because the app needs them to be able to work properly, but you can change the wording of them. So if I want to change it from due date, maybe I don't really want it to say that. I want to say, when would you like to pick up? And then click your check mark, and we've just changed the wording there so that it's a little bit more geared towards what you'd like. Then after you do that, you want to add your questions. So this is where you can choose between a bunch of different types of questions and customize them to whatever you'd want to ask your customer. So like, how many cookies would you like? And you can click required. Now remember, I mentioned that summary in that inquiry view. That's what this preview button does. If you tap that preview on, whatever the customer answers in this section here will pop up in that summary section. So we can select that, and you add as many as you would like. Again, remember I mentioned you can leave a place for your notes. You could add just a question here. Anything else I should know? Don't make it required, add it there. 99% of the time, people leave it blank, and it's just a space that you'll be able to use to make notes for yourself. Once you have all of that filled in, the important thing to do is click Create Form. Now that you have your form created, you can tap on it to reveal a set of buttons. You've got Edit, that's where you could go back into the screen that we were just in. Copy if you'd like to duplicate that form. Open takes you right to viewing it on the internet, so you can see what your customers would see. And then we also have copy URL and delete. Delete is obvious, you know what delete will do. Copy URL is what I use a ton. When you copy that URL, that is what I will send if someone DMs me. If someone DMs me on my Instagram to ask if they can submit an order, I'll say, yeah, absolutely. Here's the link to my form. Fill it out. If I didn't have a website, and when I didn't have a website, I would just paste that link right into my bio so that people knew they could click on that link, and that's how they would order from me. So being able to quickly copy that link is super helpful. I would highly recommend utilizing that button for yourself. Once you've created your form, then I would suggest going over into your settings. There's 2 things in your preferences: the automated emails and the availability. Your automated emails, remember, your automated emails are the thank you email that the customer gets when they submit the form, the accept email that they can get if you click that pink check mark to let them know that you're available, or the decline email that they will receive if you are not available. So just To customize those, I have general ones that are already put in the app, but you can always pop in here and change this however you would like, and then you just click save, and you can do the same for the inquiry was not accepted or the inquiry accepted email. So that is the first thing that you can customize. The next thing is your availability. Now, I love this feature because this is how I make sure that I am not overbooked. As soon as I am booked, you can click a start date and an end date. So let's say I'm booked for all of March at this point, and I can make a note, March booked. If I save that, I now have this little rule down here at the bottom, and that will automatically sync to my forms. So if I go back into what my customer would see if they access my form, that will control this pickup or due date question. So if you look here, now you'll notice that all of March is blocked off, and they're not able to select any of the dates in March. So that just really cuts back on how many orders you have to decline. I also love doing this for my own personal business. I will actually close all of my months. So like April 1st to the 30th, and then I mark it April, and then I'll do the same thing for May. I'll close them all off. So that way, what I'm able to do is open them one at a time. So that way, I don't have people booking me out way far in advance. If March is booked, well, we're in March, so people probably want to start booking April, so I can just X this off, and then that will update to my forms automatically. So again, if I open that up, then I'll be able to see that reflected here. April's open, but May is closed. So that's how you can kind of play around with the availability. Another way to get that availability screen is either by going through your settings and clicking availability, or you can click this little calendar button here at the bottom. So that's how you can mark off your calendar and make sure you don't overbook yourself. That's my favorite thing ever. I think I have pretty much covered everything. I feel like I'm running through this so quick. But anyway, you'll have all of your inquiries in this one place. So let me show you how that preview works. If I want to change up, which form was it? You'll also, so I have 3 different forms in here now. You'll notice that it says custom cookies by Emily. That tells me that submission came from this form right here. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually go in and change which one is the preview. So let's make, oh, I can't make this one the preview because I have to take this one off. So I'm going to change this, and instead I'm going to make this one the preview. So now instead of having the number of cookies here, you'll see that it says bachelorette cookies all in pink. So it just changes what that summary is on this screen for you. So that is pretty much how the app works. I would suggest if you have a website and if you want to use it on your website, you can create a button. So let me show you how I have this on my own website, just to kind of give you an idea of how it can be used. If we, oops, trying to get rid of the screen here. If I jump over to my website, this is how I have it set up, custom cookies. And then I have all of my information about my custom cookies, reviews, pricing, all that good stuff. And then ready to order, I've got some administrative stuff, and then they just click order here. It takes them right to my form, and then they fill it out. And that is pretty much how I work my ordering system. Okay, let me see here. Can I stop screen sharing? All right. That is a very quick, I guess quick, maybe it's felt long, summary of how Sift works. I hope that's helpful. If you think of any questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help. If you run into any issues, send me those emails too, or anything you need at all. Please, please, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to chat, and I love feedback. So thank you so much for watching this, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful night.